Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Mic testing. Set whiteboard. Okay. Coffee check. Let's roll.
Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own.
Fill in the gap. You might want to consider this before you start your business. You might want to consider this if you wanted to start a business with a right direction. So, what does it mean when you say fill in the gap? What does it mean when it comes to business? What does it mean when it comes to small businesses, even to brands? Before you start something, why do I need to consider this phrase, fill in the gap? When we say fill in the gap, this is gonna be a short talk about it or discussion about this thing. But this is something na alam kong kayo lang din yung makakasagot personally. Or your teammates, or kung family business, yung family nyo lang din. But yeah, kamusta muna kayo guys? It's been a stressful week for me. Not because of personal, pero yung outside, external stress of what's happening. Today is March 28, 2021. And starting tomorrow, start na ng ECQ dito sa NCR Plus. Consists of Laguna, Cavite, Bulacan, and NCR. Cavite kasi yung area ko kung nasan ako ngayon. And yun, kasama ulit kami. And it's been a crazy thing because we felt like we're back to zero again. After a year of social distancing, a year of hoping that we can progress from last year's situation, only to find out na, yep, we're still here, back to zero. It's really been stressful. I'm not speaking just for myself or my family, but para din sa nanonood. I understand you guys. I understand, and we're in this together. I will try to shoot this video for, of course, maintaining the coffee session between you guys despite of everything that's happening, and especially to also accommodate yung mga questions ng mga nag-comment before sa videos and on Instagram and my channel. Now, this is another content. This is not a question from you guys, but it's something that I just thought na importante ding matakal natin when you're starting a business. This question actually was a question that was asked to us by a team member at Tribo. So, I just want to give a shout out to Nina Duque or Isa of Wonder the Room. She's actually the person who have asked this question regarding about fill in the gap, and I just thought, why don't I share it with you guys because you're also starting. So, meron kasi kaming plan and we're starting something. Most of our friends knew that we're part of Tribo Startup Community. I've also shared that with you from the previous videos, wherein we created a group where you could talk or share something about knowledge regarding about starting up, a community of Filipino starters who wants to start up something, whether it's online business, to group, to brand, from different industries like food, tech, fashion, and such. Yeah, if you want to join, yeah, please do so. We're not that active yet, like every day posting. We have 92 members, I think, on our Facebook group, and we're slowly discussing things on how we could make the stay of the members worthwhile on the group. We're thinking of ways to serve them by using the platform that Facebook group has. And this question is one thing that we have discussed among ourselves because we're three. Hi, Pat. We're talking about how we could level up the group this year. And this question just parang nag-ano lang din siya sa akin personally, itong fill in the gap. Because if you're gonna start something, mahirap siya because, yun nga, we thought that when we're starting something, the only thing we need to consider is the name, the color, the brand, the font, the branding, the page. Di naman mali, tama naman, yun naman dapat yung dapat i-consider. But that's on the external part, diba? We also want to consider, I think, yung internal part, which is the mission, the vision, the values. This question, which is, what are we trying to fill in? What are the gap that we are trying to fill in? Now, for you, what are the gap in the community, in the society, in your family, in your influence, the people within your reach? What is the gap? What are the problems, the things that they lack, the things that is inconvenient for them, the things that mahirap pa sitwasyon ngayon na alam mong ikaw yung makaka-feel it. Meron kang strength, meron kang service, meron kang idea or knowledge na masusolusyonan yon. So, that's basically the other version of that question. Ano yung bagay na pwede mong masolusyonan before you start that business? Have you ever thought of that? Now, let's think of that together. I just wanna also consider kasi I've also listed some things again because I don't wanna make this video longer. If you are looking for a premium spread to pair up with your bread, plus hot coffee at home, Cravings by Alonso's tuna spread and herb cream cheese spread is a must-try. Actually, marami pa silang selection of flavor ng spread at products tulad ng no-bake cake nila na pwede ding i-personalize depende sa events nyo. So, you gotta try them. Look at their products at their Facebook page or Instagram page. And yep, thank you Stuffles Bake Shop for sending 2 banana, choco, plus almond bread loaves. Ang sarap nito, grabe. Kahit 1 slice lang, busog ka na sa sobrang siksik ng ingredients. I think the price, as I looked into their menu last time, it's only 140 pesos. Meron ka ng masarap na merienda na pwede ding i-pair up sa inyong kape. So, ang sinasabi ko sa video na to, sobrang sarap. Pinapakita ko lang din na may banana bits pa siya at ang sarap talaga ng almonds. Makikita nyo naman sa facial expression ko kung paano ko na-enjoy itong merienda ko na halos siguro kinakain ko na everyday ngayong linggo at hindi ako nagsasawa dahil may kape. Look onto their new products and new menu at Stuffles Bake Shop on Instagram and Facebook. Back to the topic. When we say filling in the gap, I wanted to highlight 2 things that will benefit from this. Para kanino ba tong pag-fill in the gap? As I am also discussing sa mga previous videos ko, hopefully you understand that by now, I wanted to tell that don't start if you're gonna do it just for yourself. If you're thinking of just monetizing things, well, it's not that bad, but for a long time, na yun lang yung isipin mo and ikaw lang yung mag-benefit, that's not the thing that I am encouraging here. What I'm encouraging about is the longer term of something. If you wanted to start something, the longer term, which is ma-achieve mo lang if you are going to consider other people or if you are going to consider the things that is not about you or the community, the other people. Okay? That's what I've discussed from the previous vlog. Okay, now, I am always mentioning this group of people because, well, that's the truth and the only truth when you start something. It's because you're not gonna be there forever and you're not gonna be doing the same thing forever. Okay, wait, yan. So, I'm just starting and I'm not thinking about that pa. Why should I think about it? When you're gonna start something, it's also good to look at it on a longer term where in reality, yung ginagawa mo ngayon, hindi na ikaw yung gumagawa niyan. Pwedeng nagpa-help ka na, pwedeng may inassign ka na ng ibang tao. So, that's what I'm talking about. Yung progress na yon. Kaya ako nasabi na hindi lang whatever you're doing now, something na you won't do on a later part of the journey. So, you might want to consider that as well. The 2 things that you should look at for you to determine the gap that you're trying to fill in or the gap that you are going to fill in. The 2 group of people are, number 1 is community and number 2 is the next generation or the youth. Okay? Number 1 is community. Community is yun, barangay mo, pamilya mo, lahat. Bakit ko ba iniisip laging barangay? Pero yun kasi una ko naisip, yun yung nasa visual ko pagka sinabi kong community, parang group of mga mamamayan, mga by street. But no, community is group of people na, community mo of vloggers, community mo of designers, where you belong. Ganyan, whatever sector that is in your life, your community. You might want to check on them as well. You might want to open your eyes and hear them out. You might want to look look at the things that they post, some things na you realize na medyo nahirapan sila on that part, medyo kailangan nila ng tulong doon. Kasi di ba tayong tao naman, kahit naman hindi sabihin ng ibang tao, we have that human feeling na we wanted to give something kahit na hindi tayo i-ask. Hopefully, that's something na pinapairal pa rin natin nowadays, especially in this crazy days. Pandemic na to. Hopefully, pinapagana pa rin natin yung human skills natin na yun na kailangan natin. Empathy, okay? Empathy, everyone. Let's be generous with empathy, okay? And understanding patience. Let's be generous with that. So, number one is community. Because they are within your reach. You can talk to them. You can actually ask them. You can actually relate to them most of the time because of friends mo sila, di ba? And they can also hear you out. They can also hear your ideas. And pwede kayong mag-communicate kung paano ma-fill in itong gap na to. Paano ma-fill in the gap between their comfort, difficulties, to your strength para mag-meet yung kailangan nila. Basically, their needs. Number two is the next generation or the youth. What do you think is something na kailangan ng youth ngayon? What is something na when it comes to your business, for example, you're in tech, the fresh graduates, ganyan. Bang hirap maghanap ng trabaho? Well, ang dami naman talagang platforms na ngayon para makahanap ka ng work. But for a fresh grad like them, parang mahirap. So, how are you going to fill in the gap for them? Kung ikaw yung nandun na sa ahead na generation or you're working in the tech company na, what are the app or the websites you can develop or ideate, things like that. If you're in food industry, what are the food? Maraming example yung pandemic kasi, diba, parang before the pandemic naman, we are used of going out. We're not thinking of doing things at home. Kasi diba, parang iba nga, nangyayari, halos sa labas na lahat kumakain from breakfast to dinner. Last year was really a stretched out, not really a big stretch out, but siguro yung ganong culture lang na parang nagda-dine out, kain sa labas, ganon. What we did is we learned to adapt by buying, alam mo yung storage food, even the fast food, thought of the idea na bakit hindi natin i-sell yung mga chicken, yung mga frozen foods before i-fry, like templado na, tapos bibili na lang nila, lulutuin na lang nila sa bahay nila. That's something na for me, it's an innovation already with the food. Most of the people now are searching for food na pwedeng lutuin sa bahay kaysa sa labas for safety, things like that. Back to next generation. I have one word for the next generation, which is, alam mo yung instant generation, like they wanted things to be instant. Siguro kaya nabuo yung mga instant noodles, the banking, di ba, mas naging yung GCash because everything is instant now. Like for shopping, you don't need to go out, katulad ng Lazada and Shopee. Di ba, kunwari, just now, I bought a rash guard for my mom dahil may swimming dapat kami pero, ako, isip yun na naman ng April 4. Pero feeling ko, hindi yan lang yung April 4. Pero yun, meron akong rash guard after 3 days wherein before, you need to go to a department store to search for it, diba? I just hope nakasya sa mama ko. Pero yun, may mga sizes na rin naman available sa mga e-commerce platform. So, those are the things that these brands, these businesses tried to think of. They tried to think of solutions to a particular problem. That's why naging mabenta sila, diba? So, I'm sure that they did not just put it in, develop it, and boom, yun na yun. I'm sure they have undergone a lot of research, just looking around kung ano yung kailangan ng tao, di ba? I'm sure you're also thinking of that on a deeper part of the business that you are going to start. Malaking question kasi yung fill in the gap para kung pagod ka nang sabihin na sisimula na naman tapos hindi ko na naman tatapusin. Sometimes kasi pag ganun is you have to have a purpose for your business. It has to have a purpose para mas maintindihan mo yung gap na sinusolusyonan mo. Punta na tayo sa next, which is the 2 things for you to answer the gap. 2 things na ma-answer or when you thought of the gap na kailangan mong i-fill in para sa business mo naman. 2 things na mabibigay para sa business mo. Number 1 is your purpose. Sinabi ko na kanina, the purpose of your business. Hopefully, if you're very sure na you wanted to start that business, hopefully meron siyang, kumbaga ito yung dalawang bagay na magiging foundation ng business mo which is number 1 is yun nga, yung purpose nito. Kasi if you don't have a purpose, bakit? You're going to give a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thinking, even finances or resources for it. So, you might want to think hard about the purpose of that business. And then, second kasi, if you have a purpose na, of course, you have a direction. So, in a few months or in a few years, diba, you know where to go because you have a direction, you know, parang pag nag-plan ka, you're not just gonna plan for a 1 year or a 1 month plan, but you're gonna plan for a 10-year plan. Kung ano yung direction ng business mo, kung pupunta ka ba sa corporate, the people that you're going to work with, paano mo i-expand yung business mo, mga stuff na ganyan. Yep, fill in the gap. I hope that you now understand what it means. The illustration is just like this. Here is the community. Next gen. So, basically, the gap, it's you. So, ikaw yung magtutulay. Yan. Sa dalawa, binanggit natin kanina, your purpose, if you have the purpose pero wala ka naman, di ba? Sinong mag-ooperate? You have the purpose and the direction, then ikaw or your company, you can fill in the gap for them. Yun siya. I hope that malinaw sa inyo. Pero ako, sa akin kasi, there's something na na-challenge din ako because of that question. Di ba, Nina? Ang daming nangyari sa tanong mo. Sa akin kasi, the challenge is always, when I thought of something, alam mo yung, ang daming mga idea, di ba? So, you wrote it down. For example, sa akin, may ganun ba kayong instance na pag matutulog kayo, yung parang nakatulog na kayo, tapos nagising kayo kasi may idea kayo. When you have a lot of ideas in your mind, and sometimes, ang daming mga idea to the point na na-overwhelm ka, and you thought that, parang namang di ko kaya lahat, nakaka-stress naman, hindi ko naman magawa kahit isa dito. Parang na ano ka sa sarili mo dahil di mo kayang gawin. But no, jot it down, have a mind mapping. What's mind mapping? Mind mapping is like, basically, kung anong ginawa ko dito, thought number 1, thought number 2, idea number 3, idea number 4. Tapos you just write it down, then saka mo bilugan yung mga magkakakonect. Well, ganun ako pag nag-mind map. Right, ito magka-relate, so binibilugan ko, tapos relate ko dito. Or sometimes, hindi ako gumagamit ng mga circle-circle. I just wrote everything down just to free my mind. That's mind mapping. Try nyo, nakaka-release siya. Especially, I like to do it every morning or before I start to work, just to free my mind. Have you ever felt that you haven't fulfilled something in a day? Sometimes it takes me, like, yun lang pala kailangan ko, kailangan ko lang pala mag-journal, ganun. Yun, pwede kayo mag-journal and do a mind mapping. Back to the thing that I'm saying earlier. Sa akin kasi ganun yung naisip ko before. Parang the challenge in everything that I do with. Yan, okay, that's a good idea. But what is the gap that you're trying to fill in? What is the purpose of that idea? You also need to be the number one critic for yourself before really pushing it out. Kailangan mo din maintindihan yung sarili mo or how you think or how you ideate for the business that you're trying to do or start. Sa akin kasi, I'm a fan of people who really exemplify servanthood and humility. And the one person talaga that I am looking up to when it comes to that is none other than the main character of the Bible, which is Jesus. I'm not being biblical or something, but I'm just trying to share something talaga na ano sa buhay ko talaga that is really guiding me with everything. I just remember how Jesus would really want to, parang in everything na ginagawa niya, first is it's intentional, and second is it's purposeful. So dun tayo sa purposeful. Intentional kasi parang, yeah, he's not there for nothing na para tumambay at makipagbiruan lang sa mga disciples or mga tao doon. Bonding tayo, hindi ganun. Intentional, like talagang pinlano, binigyan ng oras. Pag purposeful is, yun, may purpose ka. Bakit ka nandun? That's something na siguro developed in me because of the stories that I'm hearing about him. Ever since pa naman, I admire that everywhere he goes, he has this purpose of redeeming someone or encouraging someone. Well, because that's his mission, diba? And everything is because of the character he has. Like, number one is humility. Even he's God, he came not to be served, but to serve. Yun. So, every time I will do something, dun ko siguro i-develop sa mindset ko that it's good when you're receiving some things like, uy, ang galing mo naman sa ganito, ganda ng idea mo, ganyan. Pero, for me, I wanted to develop the character he has, like, yung mindset na, well, I'm here because I wanted to serve, not to be served. And that's normal. Though, I'm not saying na wag kayong mag-thank you, wag nyo appreciate. Go appreciate lang. Pero, yung personal lang, kung ikaw lang ba sa sarili mo, parang mas okay kasi na, well, sa akin lang to. For me, pag may nag-thank you, parang I find it better na pag naisipan sa sarili ko na, well, it's because I have a purpose why I really did that. I'm happy na nagawa nung business ko o nung brand ko yung purpose niya. It's not because I'm really great or something, but I'm just happy that my business fulfilled its purpose. Mas kinikilig na ako pag ganon. The verse that sobrang short lang talaga, he came to serve, not to be served. Yun, I'll just put the verse here. That's something na napakaikli for me, pero naging motivation ko siya for everything that I do. Kasi diba, parang we are in the generation na when we're starting something, pero for some brands, like, sometimes kasi may mga nakakausap ako na, wala lang, gusto ko lang magtayo ng business, ganyan. Sadly, I've learned people who wanted to create their own business for their name as well, na para masabi na CEO sila, or masabi na magaling sila, or masabi na bata pa lang, marami nang na-achieve. Hopefully, that's not gonna be the motivation why you're doing that. It's because you really want wanted to help people and you really wanted to serve a purpose. That's something kasi na gusto ko ding encourage whenever I talk to a young entrepreneur. Sometimes kasi diba parang when we age, diba, we cannot blame the older generation to be questioning us about our decisions because may point naman, like for example, the things sometimes that we agreed or decide more of based on emotions. We have to also hear them because that's the truth. And yun nga, when I talk to young entrepreneur, I wanted to ask them the hard questions para hindi na sila masasaktan sa huli, diba? At the early age, they will learn that the thing that they're gonna start is something serious and should consider serious things like this. Servanthood, when you start something, it should really serve someone. It should really serve something, diba? And it should not just benefit you. You should be considering other people while thinking about this. In verse regarding about this, Philippians 2 verse 3, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility, count others more significant than yourself. So, itutuloy ko siya ha, kasi ang ganda talaga ng buong chapter, pero sige, tuloy natin siya. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. Though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of man. And being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Therefore God has highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of the Father. So yun, until verse 11 siya. So what does it mean? For me lang naman, ang nakuha ko dun sa verse is, yun nga, consider others better than ourselves. Hopefully, we're gonna raise a new generation of entrepreneurs that's not thinking of themselves when they thought of this business, but is thinking of other people. That's why they have started this business. So ikaw, if iniisip mo magkaroon ng business, yay! I'm happy for you, I'm excited for you, but I also wanted to encourage you to think of this as well. What are the things that you need to fill in the gap of our generation, in the gap of the society, or the things that will encourage also other people and give light to other people. So yan, thank you for having this coffee session with me again. And I hope that here in the Philippines or in this NCR Plus, we are going to have a lockdown again. We are going to have the thing that we have faced last year. It's gonna be another Dalgona coffee season, ube cheese pandesal season. But kidding aside, I hope that we could be a little more patient with what's happening. Sad to say, still wear a face mask, face shield, don't go out if it's not necessary. Sobrang sad, pero yon, keep our relationship virtually connected. Stay safe everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye!